companies that have dividends, that right now their dividend yields are very, very attractive. REITs that have been battered down and their yields also are very, very high as well. For US stocks, nothing has changed. Tech stocks and large brands, companies that I know also from a tech perspective have been battered down. Nasdaq has been hit the most also for the year. I think the Apples, the Microsoft, and the Googles of this world still pose a very, very good opportunity, especially if your time horizon is very, very long, and more so given that they've dropped in price over the past few months. Hey guys, so we are in the midst of a bear market in the stock market and even in the cryptocurrency market. And if you've been watching my videos, I mentioned that a lot of the things that has pushed this was inflation and the rising interest rates. And because there's not a lot of free money going around, there's no quantitative easing anymore moving. And in this video, I just want to share what are the key investments that I'm still pushing, looking at right here, right now. So number one, I've never stopped looking at the stock market. I'm still a big fan of the Philippine stock market. It's just that as I started to look at the Philippine stock market, I've just been focusing on large conglomerates, companies that I know have large staying power, and companies that give dividends. And I'm looking at REITs that are continuously been battered down, that will give me a high yield of return in terms of dividends. So I'm very, very sensitive right now on companies that will give me high dividend yield. So for Philippine markets, those are my stock, large conglomerates, the ones that I know that have very, very large staying power, companies that I know have good growth projections, very, very good companies that will stand the test of time, companies that have dividends, that right now their dividend yields are very, very attractive, REITs that have been battered down and their yields also are very, very high as well. For US stocks, nothing has changed. Tech stocks and large brands, companies that I know also from a tech perspective have been battered down. Nasdaq has been hit the most also for the year. I think the Apples, the Microsoft, and the Googles of this world still pose a very, very good opportunity, especially if your time horizon is very, very long, and more so given that they've dropped in price over the past few months. So what's interesting about what we're seeing right now is that when everyone was so high about the US stock market the past year, when everything was so good, everything was so fruity, people were willing to buy it at higher valuations. Right now, there are a lot of those good companies, even from Unilever, from P&G, from Starbucks, to Nike, from Tesla, that have dropped a bit. I think they're more attractive right now than where they were before. I'm looking at it from that perspective, and as if you notice it also, it's totally different from my approach for the Philippine markets. If you look at it from a Philippine market perspective, I've been focusing on conglomerates, I've been focusing on stocks that would give me dividends, and I've been focusing on companies that have good growth potential in the Philippines. Whereas for US companies, US stocks, it's been purely tech and purely companies with them having good brands. I know they have great consumer following, and I know sales will be there over and over and over again. If you notice it also, pretty much nothing has changed from my philosophy in 2020. I'm still buying the same ones, but I'm more sensitive that I want to stack them at lower levels. And what's interesting right now is I get to get them at prices that are relatively cheaper as compared to when there was a lot of excitement in 2020 and 2021. Now let's move on over to cryptocurrencies. It hasn't changed. I still like Bitcoin, I still like Ethereum. In terms of composition with the crypto and the tokens that I own, Bitcoin and Ethereum have a very, very large composition in terms of what I have. Then you have BNB, you have Solana, you have Near Protocol. I've been focusing more on L1 chains right now, L1 protocols. I really believe that dApps, there's so much dApps right now, there's so much competition in that particular space, and it becomes more predictable to look at the underlying technology on where this dApps would be on, because I really believe that as we see this space get bigger, as more dApps get deployed, as more users come into the system, we would need more L1 chains. That the current L1 chains that we have right now isn't enough. Even if you add the Ethereum 2.0 upgrade, even if you have Solana, even if you have Near, I think they're not enough if you want to onboard the next billion users into this entire space. So if you notice it also, it's at the point where everyone's scared, they don't want to be into crypto. I'm saying this right now, 2022, that I'm still in it. In spite of the volatility, in spite of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, I'm still adding, I'm still stacking, I'm still building a base. Please do remember this. the best proposition that you could ever have still, regardless if it's Philippine stocks, US stocks, or the crypto market, is to be positioned. It doesn't mean that you go all in, that you put everything in right now, but it's good to have a base, it's good to have a position, it's good to add something to what you currently have, because no one can time when the bottom of the market will be. No one can time what will be the specific low. People were even predicting that Bitcoin would hit 100,000, 130,000 for last year, but the highest that we've ever seen it was 69,000. Because at the end of the day, no one will know where the lowest point is, no one will know where the highest point is. But what you could do right now as an investor is to just stick to your guns and put in and deploy capital to assets, stocks, crypto that you've taken the time to actually study, because it will ultimately be a conviction game that you continue to deploy capital on that. So whatever I've been looking at in 2020, 2021 up until 2022, in spite of things going on, I'm still invested, I'm still a net investor. Every time I have capital, I try to build a base as much as I can. Every time there's fresh new funds that I could actually use, it's all about stacking, it's all about adding, it's all about making it bigger. The difference also though is I'm not putting everything in one go. I'm storing cash because I don't know where the bottom will be, but I know also that should there be drops later on, I could still use that and deploy that to be able to add to my position. In the same way also, should the market start to reverse, I could also use that cash, but I may have to buy higher. However, since I've been stacking at lower levels, it going higher isn't really a big issue because there's already a base that has been formed when everything was lower. And that works for positions, assets, or even stocks, for the ones that have a chance to grow massively over the long term. And I think that's what's very, very important. In times where there's uncertainty, don't focus on the ones that pump and dumps. Don't just focus on the ones that are very, very speculative, because the name of the game is for you to find the ones that will last. The name of the game is to find the ones that will be very, very good. Build conviction on it, build a large base on it, then just wait, exercise discipline. So I'm pretty much a stock market investor, I'm pretty much a crypto investor, and my focus pretty much hasn't changed. It's consistency and discipline, and you following your plan in the midst of things being scary, in the midst of people being risk off, that will somehow protect you. Because when markets start to reverse, a lot of people will now start to ape in again at higher prices. But you have to realize that money's made when things are down, when people are scared. Tail end of 2022, I'm still doing the same thing. Whatever my approach was, whatever my technique was, since I started investing, I've been tweaking it, but I'm still a net investor because I do know this is all cyclical. What's down will ultimately reverse up, and what you do when it's down will ultimately determine how you will be when everything is up. So if you got a lot from this, put your questions down below. Like, share, subscribe, smash to get updated every time I come up with new content about investing. And that's it for now. Marvin Gurmo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.